Welcome back to Story Time with the Captain. And today we've got the Brew Kettle Vipera, 5% alcohol. It's an Italian Pilsner. And 30 IBUs. It means International Bitterness Units. The higher the number, the more bitter. And I think the highest I've had was 115 by Sly Fox Brewing. Anyways, today's story goes back 35 to 37 years ago, something like that. I was stupid. You know, when you're younger, you do stupid things, and you know, you regret it when you look back. You regret it. You just dumb things you did. But, anyways, I don't need to get into it. But I got kicked out of the house. All right, and actually twice because, well, I'm not gonna say anything else. But I got kicked out the second time, and I took my stuff across the street to the neighbor's field, like they had a big yard thing there. And I really don't remember how this happened. I went up the street to my friend's house. They brought their van down, and we loaded up the van. We took it to another friend's house and put it in her garage. And I went back, and I think I had my sleeping bag, and I was like, well, thanks for helping me move this stuff. And I started walking up, and we had a neighborhood bar, all right? It was called Robbins Avenue Lounge. And I knew some people that hung out in there and stuff. So I was walking by, and I noticed my friend Ed was in there. I don't know what his last name was. Him and his dad owned a arcade on 422 down by the McDonald's in Girard. And we played pool in there and stuff, but he closed it down. But he was in there. And I walked in, and I just talking to him, and he goes, "Hey, where are you off to?" I was like, "Well, I got kicked out of the house. And I'm gonna go sleep in the woods." And he said, "No, you don't have to do that." So he took me in, and I slept down in his basement on a couch. And otherwise, I'd be sleeping in the woods, you know. And I ran into one person one time that we were outside a Dick's Sporting Goods down by the Eastwood Mall, and he was outside, and he had a bike there, and we were walking in, and he goes, "Hey, do you know anywhere we can get a hot meal?" And I was like, "I don't know," and I just walked in. So we're walking around in there, and I was like, I started thinking back. I was in his shoes at one time. Kind of, yeah. So he was probably homeless, but he had a bicycle, and we're walking around in there, and I asked my wife, "Give me some money." So I'm going to give it to him. So she gave me some money, and I walked over to him. We left. We were leaving. We didn't find what we were looking for. We left, and I walked over. I gave him a 20. And he booked it. He was hungry. I hope he's doing good. I hope that somehow changed, it made his path go a little bit better, maybe. I don't know. So anyways, Ed took me down the basement, and I crashed there that night, and I woke up in the morning, and he told me He goes, your sister is coming to get you. My older sister. I was like, okay. I didn't think anything of it until I always thought about this. How did they somehow know each other? I still don't know. Well, anyways, I was outside. This is just recently. I was outside weed whacking in my front yard and doing stuff, and I'm leery about people, talking to people because they're always asking you for something and this and that and everything, and just I don't know, And his car pulls up, and I'm weed whacking. I had my radio, like noise cancellation radio thing, and I'm weed whacking and stuff, and I just kept going, and I think they were trying to get my attention, but I was like, yeah, I'm kind of standoffish because I don't know people. So anyway. So, well, anyways, let me go back to where I was talking about. She ended up taking me in, and I stayed with her and my nephew and my brother-in-law for a while. She took me, she fed me, everything, did laundry and everything. Took me to get a checking account at the bank, to open up a checking account. Helped me look for my first apartment. It was $255 a month, studio apartment. And I was like, I work 4 hours in the morning and 8 hours in the afternoon at a Japanese restaurant. I says, I'm not gonna be there that much. And she says, that's life, that's what you got to do, I was like, oh man. Oh, it's empty. And I moved in, and the owner of the restaurant ended up going to my friend's house, Hiro. Takahiro Washi was his name. He was the owner at the time of Yamato's. And now they moved up here in Warren, and he sold it. But he went to my friend's house in the garage, and we loaded up the stuff, and he helped me move into my apartment. So, fast forward, 35 some years, I'm out in the front yard, like I was saying, weed whacking, and I'm like, people, I don't know. So I'm weed whacking in the back, and they came out, and it was funny because like a week before, I was estimating on how much our house was worth on Zillow and stuff, and I typed in the address and everything. So I'm walking from the back, and I put the weed whacker down in front of the garage because I thought it was my niece's husband, because he's kind of a big guy, and he was a big guy here. And I walk up, and he comes walking up to me, and there was a lady with him, and he goes, hey, you want to sell your house? And it clicked into my head that, oh, he's a realtor, and he's talking about, I don't know, maybe he's with that company that I emailed my address and stuff about. And he said he lived on so-and-so street, and my old street, South Bellwood. And I was like, this is weird. And then he said another street. And I'm looking at him, and he looked like he was the entertainment coordinator for the Covelli Center in Youngstown. Eric something is his name. And that's who I thought it was at one time, for a second there. But when he said South Bellwood, he lived on South Bellwood or something. And then he lived in on another street. I know the street he lived on. And then I looked at him, And then it clicked. It was my nephew and my older sister. They stopped by. And I was like, oh my God. I was tickled to death. That was really cool. We started talking, and it's been a long time. Long time. You know? So I was sitting there thinking, I didn't think of it at the time until today. I was like, I never thanked her for what she did. So, Diane, if you're watching this video, thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. I love you. Thank you.